Sean Roden, Steve Kuklo, Dexter Jackson, Big Ramy, Juan Morel, Dennis Wolf, Kai Green, and your three-time Olympia champion, Phil Heath.
So what you're seeing right now, ladies and gentlemen, is your top 10 for Mr. Olympia. One of the individuals on the stage, minus Phil Heath, who's coming out right now, will be Mr. Olympia 2014. Here at the 50th annual event of this competition.
All right, our top 10 Olympians in place. Let's send it back down to the head judging table. Big Steve.
Thank you, Bob. Phil and Steve, switch, please. Juan and Dexter, switch, please. Juan and Kai, switch. Juan and Kai. Dennis and Ramy, switch, please.
So the judges moving our competitors around now.
Spread out, please.
So they can see them next to
Quarter turn to the right.
the athletes they may be being compared to one or two spots away.
And Larry, we've
Quarter
seen
turn to the right.
call-outs, and we knew who were likely going to be in our top 8, but we're seeing a full top 10 here. Any surprises for who's in this group at the top 10?
I don't
Quarter
think
turn to
anything
the right.
shocking. You know, I think it's good news for Steve Kuklu, and it is fantastic news for Juan Morel, who in his Olympia debut,
Face front.
we talked about him being in great shape. One of the only guys who really nailed it right from the beginning of the prejudging, and he finds himself in the top 10 at the Olympia. Can't wipe that smile off his face.
Gentlemen, spread out,
two
please.
athletes in from the left on your screen.
Everyone's got to take a step. It's a big stage. Let's go.
The biggest surprise to me here, to be perfectly honest, is that Dennis Wolf hasn't been positioned next to Sean Roden. It's pretty clear that they're battling for 3-4. So to have Phil and Kai in between them is a little surprising to me.
Thank you, Rope. Gentlemen, front double bicep.
As we talked about earlier, Branch Warren really making an impression this year, showing up in phenomenal shape, and you see him there in the top 10.
Front lat spread.
There's your two favorites, Kai Green on the left and Phil Heath on the right.
Side chest.
I think the gap has narrowed between them from last night. I think Kai's legs look better front to back as well as his back. His torso, to me, still is not popping out as much as we would like it to. It looks kind of flat.
Back double bicep.
But definitely the gap between Heath and Green closer than it was last night for me.
There's no steps over there, are there? No, there's no steps over there.
Back lat spread.
When they came on earlier, Dave, we talked about who
Side
benefited more
tricep.
from this 24 hours between last night and tonight. And clearly, Kai Green has benefited more from the time. I don't think it's enough to catch Heath, but the gap between them has closed significantly, and I think it's because Kai looks to be
Abdominal
peaking
and thighs.
tonight, not at the prejudging.
Well, you made a point that Phil Heath looked to be peaking even early on in the prejudging last night and then faded a bit as the prejudging went on. And then Kai, on the other hand, was getting stronger as the prejudging.
You're most
And then we never got
muscular.
that final comparison,
Sure.
side by side.
Right. And a lot of that had to do with, again, the fact that they almost got into a physical altercation on stage last night at the prejudging. Heated words exchanged. The judges were screaming at them on the microphone to separate, and then they actually
Gentlemen,
did
if you're
separate them
ready,
because it was so
pose down.
So you'll see a pose down here. This, again, is these guys having some fun. Judges have gathered the information that they want. Are you surprised that you didn't see more shifting up there, or do you think that the judges already had a pretty clear idea of what they were thinking as far as the top 10 went, obviously, who they called out, but then, you know, who those top 3 and 4 were going to be?
I think they had a pretty clear idea, and I think the indication to me is that they had already decided or felt very strongly about 3rd and 4th, because to not have Dennis Wolf and Sean Roden next to one another, if they felt that was